Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Love Domini. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about fitness and health. And as you can see from my transformation pictures, how I went on a real journey of healing and growth in this area of fitness. And really just some of the ways that I've been able to do that. So have you ever looked at somebody that's like looking super healthy and fit, or like maybe it's someone that's jogging and you've just thought, oh my God, like what are they doing with their life? Or you've just seen those transformation pictures of somebody and thought, yeah, all right, that's okay for you, but that is not who I am. So guys, I just want to encourage you that about 3 years ago now, I was a smoker. So I was a serious smoker. I wasn't just like, oh, a social smoker, I have a couple of cigarettes when we go out to the club. No, I was like a 20 a day, rolled the roll-ups kind of smoker, right? So I started smoking at the age of 12 and had always then smoked up until, I think it was my 32nd birthday that, or maybe my 31st. But I knew that, like, I'd always said to myself, when I get to 30, I'm going to stop smoking. And I genuinely had meant that, right? And I'd always said that. But then it happened and I didn't stop smoking. And then I think I got to my 31st birthday and I was like, do you know what? I don't want to be a smoker. Like, I don't want to be a person that smokes. And I would often meet people and they'd be like, Dominique, I can't believe you smoke. Like, you don't seem like a smoker. But for me, it was like a psychological thing of holding on to, I guess, like this sense of naughtiness or like the coolness that I'd perceived smoking as when I was younger, because I'd started smoking because of peer pressure at the time and because it was the cool thing to do when I was 12 years old. And then I think alongside that comes the kind of like the unhealthy lifestyle, whether that's eating or not exercising. And so that's very much how my life was. I didn't exercise. I think I went through spats of like I'd exercise or I'd do like a charity run. So maybe I'd train for like a couple of months and do that run, but it wasn't a consistent thing in my life, right? And then it got to a point where I decided I wanted to stop smoking. And I have always loved food. If you know me well, you'll know that food is a major part of my life. And when I talk about that, I don't just mean like, oh yeah, I eat food. Like, I eat, right? I've got an appetite. But I've always also enjoyed healthy food. So I've never been somebody that's like always pigged out on like McDonald's and things like that, because I actually have always quite enjoyed like cooking and eating healthy foods, but just eating a lot of it. And so I knew that if I stopped smoking, that I would replace it with eating. So I had to put something else in place as a replacement. And so what I did was I thought, right, I'm going to go to the gym instead. I'm going to get healthy. And that was really my replacement for smoking. So instead of eating, I was like, right, I'm going to go to the gym. So that will coincide. So I'll do another video about how I actually stopped smoking, because that's quite a good one. And also just to encourage anybody that has smoked for such a long time that there's definitely still hope, because I genuinely believed I didn't ever think that I would stop smoking, and I have. So that's been a real blessing. But what I would say is that then going to the gym, it also all coincided with I'd had these the Invisalign, the brace, the retainer. I was about to have that fitted as well. So it was kind of like my teeth, my health, and stopping smoking all coincided and made me really think about, right, let me go on this journey of trying to get fit. And I just want to encourage you that it has been a journey. It is not straightforward by any means, and it has not been without the curves in the road and falling off as well. And, you know, a lot of people will reach out to me now because I post things about fitness, or I'll post my workouts or like my sweaty pictures, and they'll be like, oh, can you give me some motivation or any tips on getting into exercise or getting into fitness? And there are some things that I wanted to share with you guys, which I really believe have made all the difference. So I think the biggest thing was actually starting with myself. Like the journey started on the inside, right? I was already going to counseling. I was already exploring ways that I could become the best version of myself and that I could overcome some of my past trauma and hurt. So I was already on this journey of healing, and things internally were starting to get a bit better. And so I think it was from that place that I genuinely believed that I could embark on a journey of fitness. You know, like it wasn't just a superficial, I want to look good in a bikini, although that did help because me and my friend were actually going to Thailand in the January. We were going to Bangladesh and Thailand in the December, January time. And I decided that I was going to go on this fitness journey in like the August time. So I definitely think that helped, of having like a motivation, having a goal of, I know that I'm going to have to fit into a bikini and be on a beach in Thailand with my stunning best friend who's Venezuelan. So she's got gorgeous caramel coloured skin. And I knew that I was going to have to stand next to her, and she's got a gorgeous figure. It was definitely more of an internal journey that I was already on, that then me getting healthy and fit and starting to look better on the outside was very much a reflection of that inner work that I was already doing. So what that looked like was specifically actually, and I'll link the book in the show notes, but there's an amazing book called Miracle Morning, and Miracle Morning talks about 5 key ways to start your day and just encourages you that every morning when you wake up, you spend some time, before you do anything else, you spend some time just really in a place where you come back to the essence of who you are. So whether that's in prayer, whether that's doing affirmations, visualizations, some exercise, maybe thinking about what are the goals that you want to achieve in your life, who is the kind of person that you want to be, what are you grateful for, what happened yesterday that makes you grateful today, or maybe there was some incidents of conflict the day before, so it's an opportunity to explore those. But the point is that before you engage with anyone else, before you get on your phone, before you have to deal with your kids or your husband or your spouse or your partner, that you are actually coming into a place where you're realigning with a sense of who you are and your inner identity and the core of your being. Secondly, I think you need a why. And I touched on that before. Like, I had my teeth, I had the fact that I was older, I had the fact that I wanted to get healthy, that I was stopping smoking. So I knew I wanted to replace my smoking with some healthy habits. But I think it was just those things all added up to a picture of somebody who was healthy on the inside and the outside. And really that was my why. Like, I wanted to show people around me who were maybe smoking or maybe not on that fitness journey, that it was possible to do it, and that it's possible to break these cycles of poverty and unhealthy habits and behavior. And so really that was my biggest why. And I think that's really important. I recently heard a quote that says, reasons come before results. And the real important thing about that is that every time we're on a journey to get results, we're going to face challenges. Without a doubt, we're going to make mistakes and we're going to fall down and face challenges. So being able to come back to that reason and come back to remembering why you're on that journey is so important. So often that's where they say people will have like a picture of themselves in a photo that they really hated, and they'd stick it on the fridge or on the cupboard or something like that, just to remind them of why they're doing that, you know. So every time they might go to get a snack, they'll see that picture and be like, no, this is my reason. And I think that's really important. Like, I have post-it notes dotted around everywhere with encouraging scriptures, motivational quotes, things that just inspire me to keep me going. Thirdly, consistency. Consistency. That is so key. And when I talk about consistency, we have to understand that the intention of consistency is one thing and the action of it is a whole nother thing. And it doesn't mean that, okay, you do 3 days and then you fall off, so you give up altogether. Because actually there would be days where every inch of me would go to sleep being like, I'm getting up at 5:30 a.m. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to make a 6 a.m. spin class. I'm there, right? And then I'd wake up and maybe I'd missed my alarm, or maybe I was just super tired. And so I was like, do you know what? I'm not going to go this morning. But then I'd look at my calendar and I'd see what I had in my day, like work and social activities. And I would make sure that no matter what, I fitted in that gym class later on in the day. But generally, I wanted to get into the habit of going in the morning, but I wasn't a morning person at that point. Now, I am pretty much consistent in getting up at like 5:30, 6 a.m. almost every morning. And I don't say that to brag, but I say that because that really wasn't always the case. It's just that I've got into those habits and that's become a consistent, like my body wakes up at that time. I want to be up at that time because I want to fit things into my morning before my day starts. So that consistency is so important. And it is just in those moments of decision that we become the person that we want to be. So whether it's that waking up in the morning and just remembering, wait there, what is the action that I can take right now that's going to help me to become the best version of myself? And sometimes we're not going to feel like it and we have to push through it. And there have been so many times where that's been the case for me as well. And then I've gone to the gym or I haven't felt like going at the end of a working day, but I've been like, do you know what? I know how good that is going to make me feel when I leave that gym. I know the endorphins are going to be flowing. I'm going to feel great about myself. And I'm going to feel great about the fact that I've kept a promise to myself. Pushing through it when we don't feel like it is so important. There's a really cool speaker called Mel Robbins, and she does this thing where she says 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And it's in that moment of decision where we stop debating about it in our heads, like, oh, making excuses. Oh, I'm really tired. Oh, but I've got this on later. Oh, but this. Oh, my gym stuff isn't clean. And instead of doing that, we just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Get up, get out of bed. Because actually getting out of bed is often for most of us the most challenging thing that we can build a habit around. So like the practice of just jumping up, because often, I don't know about you guys, but when you stay in bed, it makes you feel more tired. You feel sluggish, you feel lazy, you go back to sleep and your body becomes tired. And I would have people around me that would often be tired and they'd moan about being tired. And I'd be bouncing around like the Duracell bunny. But I had this like never ending source of energy, which was just from a place of being naturally quite energetic because I'd exercised. And so my body was ready for the day. I think I also have a little bit of ADHD, but nonetheless, definitely I know that like I've got friends now that have started running, and when I talk to them, the days that they've ran, I know the difference because they sound alive and they sound like pleased with themselves and positive. And the days where they haven't ran or they haven't exercised, I can hear it in their voice because they feel anxious, they feel unhappy, they don't feel good about who they are. And just a final story to encourage you. In fact, I'll share with you 2 stories. One's a funny one. So I remember being in a gym class and I was doing a spin, and I was doing a spin class, which is like on the bike, so you're going really, really fast. And all of a sudden, I felt this rip in the back of my my gym pants. This is when I knew I was really committed to the gym, right? And I'm not joking you, my whole crotch of the gym bottoms went. Like there was a massive hole, and definitely some of my bum cheek was hanging out, right? But I was in the middle of the spin class and I was like, well, I could leave now. And it was quite dark, right? So I was like, well, I could leave now, but I'm still going to have to walk through the gym. I'm going to have to do that at the end of the class anyway, or I could keep going. So I kept going, and I really felt for the people behind me because I'm sure they must have seen it, but I just didn't even care. And I think that's another thing, isn't it? Like when you start running and exercising and training, like you can't go into the gym with a face full of makeup, or if you do, it's just going to end up all over you. And so there's no point. If you're actually working out properly, then this foundation or whatever is going to be smeared all over your face. So I would just encourage you to fall in love with who you are naturally, because when you're in the gym, the faces are not attractive. Like I've brought friends to the gym with me and they take the mick out of me for days after because of the noises I make, the faces that I make, but I don't care. When I'm there now, I am serious. Like I'm in my zone. Often I've got my earphones in, which really helps because then you're like, and you're completely in your own zone and you can just absolutely focus on you. So that's my first story. And then my second story is really early on when I started going to the gym. So remember, I was like 32. I had no real level of fitness. I think I'd started trying to run a little bit before I started going to the gym. So I'd stopped smoking and I started running like simultaneously at the same time. But I remember even when I started running, I hated running. Like I promise you, when I was in like year 6, year 7 at secondary school, like 11, 12, I did a bit of, I think I did some cross country running, but then I started smoking. So I really was not a runner. And the first couple of runs I did, I ran for a few minutes and stopped. And then the following day I'd run for like 6 minutes and then stop. And every time I would be totally out of breath and totally not enjoying it. But I wanted to push through because I knew the benefits that I would see as a result. And anyway, so I was in this gym class. I went to this gym class. And I think it was what was called a burn it class, right? And so it's basically HIIT. So HIIT is when you just do lots of different exercises, like 30 seconds to a minute, and you just go, go, go. And it's really high paced cardio, right? So you do like jogs on the spot really fast, jumping up and down, burpees, like all sorts of madness. And I'm not joking, about 10 minutes through the class, I felt like I was going to faint. I felt so dizzy and I had to come out of the class. And I remember coming out of the class and seeing this gym instructor that I'd seen around in the gym. I think he was a personal trainer. And I went up to him and I was like, I think I'm going to faint. I think I'm going to faint. And he must have thought like, what a wimp, like looking back on it now. But I genuinely felt like I was going to faint. And it was probably the case that I'd been really like trying to go hard with the gym classes. I think I'd gone like, some days I would go to like 2 or 3 classes back to back. I was going really, really hard to try and get the results quite quickly, which I wouldn't advise actually. Like as you can see from my pictures, it's been a sustained journey that has made all the difference. So yeah, I remember, and every time I see him now, or like if I do ever see him, I'm like, remember that day when I thought I was gonna faint? Look at me now, look at me now. And I kind of do that. But what I would also say that I really wish that I'd done a bit sooner was really consider my eating, like my eating habits. Because as I said, I love food. And so often I would be able to justify like eating loads and loads and loads of food because I'd gone to the gym. Again, it wasn't necessarily awful food, but it meant that I really delayed seeing the kind of results that I realized after a while I wanted to see. And to be fair, that was my journey. Like initially I hadn't gone to the gym because I wanted abs or I wanted, whatever. I'd gone because I wanted to feel better about myself. It was very much a mental well-being thing as opposed to physical. Like obviously I had the thing that I knew I was going on holiday, but I knew also within 3 months I wasn't going to achieve loads of results. So I would just encourage you guys that it takes at least 3 months to even see anything, and 6 months to a year to see big changes. And if you do want to see like really significant changes, then your eating has to change as well. And guys, honestly, I would say that in the last 6 to 8 weeks, probably like 8 to 12 weeks now actually, I've been doing Kira London's workouts, and my transformation from before lockdown to now doing Kira London has also been phenomenal. And I think it's partly because of the way that she puts her training together. I love her training sessions. I'm going to actually link her in my show notes. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll know, because I'm always like posting sweaty pictures and being like, Kira London, I love you, body squad. But I just think she's phenomenal as a trainer. She's got great energy. She plays amazing music. Music makes all the difference. And so I'm more than happy just to link that below. But if you do want some more information about diet stuff or, and not diet, like dieting, but just what to eat and how to kind of change some of your eating habits, then I'm more than happy to share that stuff with you. And I'll do a future video about that anyway. There is definitely a way there. And exercising and fitness for me has not even been about the external journey. It's all been about how incredibly better it's made me feel about myself. It is something that I do to look after myself. So now when people say, like if I've had a difficult time, they're like, oh, be kind to yourself. Make sure you don't beat yourself up if you don't exercise. Have that chocolate bar. I'm like, Yeah, maybe, but that kind of way of thinking isn't helpful, because actually for me, what makes me feel great and amazing about myself is exercising. It is doing the things that I know make my body and my mind feel good. But sometimes we can tell ourselves a lie, or society can tell us a lie, that actually buying those shoes or eating that McDonald's or whatever is what's going to make us feel better. And it might for like 30 seconds or in that moment, but the long-term benefits are going to come when you put the work in, day out, day in, day out. And when you don't feel like it, you do it anyway. So yeah, guys, I really hope this has in some way inspired you or encouraged you to start your fitness and health journey if you haven't already. So just a reminder, really think about your why. What is your reason? Think about the practical steps that you can take to get to that, whether it's replacing a bad habit with a good habit, or looking at what exercises you want to do, or what is it that somebody else is doing that you think you're going to find fun and enjoyable. Because that's another thing. Like, I've got friends that absolutely hate the gym, they hate lifting weights, but they love swimming, so they go swimming, or they love running, so they go running, and that's what they do. And you have got to find what works for you, and then be consistent. In the moments where you don't feel like it, think about the kind of person that you want to be, and not just the kind of person you want to be tomorrow, but who is the person that like 2 years from now you want to look back and say, I'm so glad that I've put in this work and this is now where I am. So guys, I love you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all your incredible feedback. Guys, follow me on Instagram if you're not already. It's Love Domini. And stay in touch, guys. I love it so much when you comment below, or when you drop me a little direct message or a question in my inbox. It's just so encouraging. So thank you.